Hi, Linda Goodall here. Before we get ready to embroider, let's run down a quick checklist to make sure that we're actually ready and have everything perfect so we don't have to unembroider. I have a checklist and I'll have a link to this. This is from a blog post I wrote, so you'll have this checklist to keep it handy by your machine. So let's see what we need to do. First of all, make sure that you have an embroidery needle inserted and that it's in good condition, the right size for your thread and your fabric. An instructor once told us sewing with a dull needle is like shaving with a dull razor, so make sure you have a relatively new needle. It doesn't have to be a new one for each project. Then make sure that you have a bobbin wound and it's inserted properly and it has embroidery bobbin thread on it. You want to make sure you're using the right thread and the right kind of bobbin. Also make sure there's enough on there to complete your project, and if not, have others ready to sew, because if you have to change a bobbin, you're going to have to take your hoop out and put a new bobbin in and then put the hoop back in, and that's when problems can happen. So make sure you have all your embroidery threads selected. I've got my first one already loaded into the machine, and make sure that when you rethread each time, your presser foot is up. If the presser foot is lowered when you try to thread your machine, that's the #1 cause of bird's nest, and we don't want to have that happen. Make sure your fabric is smoothly hooped with the right stabilizer and that it's in the right position. So you don't want to be sewing your design too far off center, and you want to make sure that it's straight, because that's the first thing people notice about your design is where it's positioned. Make sure your hoop is attached securely. Now on this machine that's fairly easy because you can just snap it down in there and you know that it's right. Some other machines, if you don't push it in all the way, it'll look like it's secure, but it's not. So this machine is great for that. A good practice before you press the start button is to run your hands around underneath the hoop and make sure no fabric is underneath your hoop so that you don't sew your hoop into your fabric or your project. Also make sure there are no obstacles around your machine so that the arm does not hit anything. There's nothing on top of your machine, no pins, no other little things that could cause a problem. Make sure that your design is loaded and in the right orientation. If you needed to flip it or mirror it or rotate it or resize it, that you've done all of that and it's ready to go. So just do one last check and make sure everything is good to go, and then you're ready to press the start button. Now this might sound like a lot of things to do, but it's really not. And once you get in the habit, you'll just do this automatically, and it only takes a minute at the most, a few seconds maybe. So this can prevent a lot of problems. Just hurrying through can cause problems. So just take your time and do it right.